Howdy, friends and neighbors of YouTube. This is your Blitzer channel again, and I have an update and a dedicated video special to certain not so intelligent individuals who decided to say some not so intelligent things. So, GP, or as I would probably better know you as Generally Small Pecker, I thank you for calling me out. And, you know, I've got plenty of free time and a lot of intellect to boot, so thank you. You've given me something to do. So, as I've, been criticized a little bit by you and a few other people, I decided to shed a little light on a not so uncommon subject. Alright? So, the nunchucks. Yeah, they are a weapon, and it's not originally a weapon. Alright? So, they started off in general Okinawan farming. They were used as a rice flail, as I found online. I do not know completely. I wasn't there. But I'd wager you weren't either. So, if you don't have something nice to say about it, don't. Otherwise, you can apologize for what stupid stuff you said, and I can drop the whole thing in any given time. So, if you really want to push it further, this is a weapon. May not look like it, but in the right hands can be deadly. So, if you want to think about that, think about it from another perspective. Anything at all can be considered a weapon. And it does not matter if it's a toy or, just a grain of sand. Hell, in the right hands, anything, and I do mean literally anything, can be counted as a weapon. So, depends on how you use it. And if you wonder what a weapon is, it is, and I quote, an item used to gain favor against an opponent. Does not matter who, does not matter what. A weapon is something used to gain favor against an opponent. And as the original use of them was a farming tool, I'd assume that since it originates in an area and era that people were forced to use farming tools as weaponry, that's how it got grained to people to actually use them for a weapon because they didn't have access to much else. Now, that does not mean that they are a bad weapon. It is just a bad choice given other options that were available to the wealthy and impoverished, or not impoverished, but you know what I mean. People that had money could have whatever they wanted. People that willingly followed somebody else for whatever reason, they could usually have whatever they wanted. The farmers, on the other hand, that were usually oppressed in that time, they didn't have that luxury. They didn't have the money to buy swords. They didn't have the allowment from legal sources at the time for them to have weapons. They were limited, to say the least. So, yeah, you can think of it however you want. But if, in fact, you want to really call it a bad weapon, you'd have to look at the actual uses of it. Not just, well, it sucks versus a sword. Yeah, it probably does. Granted, certain hands would make it a better weapon. You could use them to disarm someone with a sword. You could use them to actually subdue someone else with or without weapons. And it did not always boil down to how terrible it was. It was about the amount of skill you could use with it. So, if you want to complain about nunchucks, that's fine. That's your right to do so. But to say it's overall trash, no, that is not accurate. It is the best made use out of a object that was available at the time. So, also, if you or anybody else ever wants to test my mettle about weaponry or whatever, I implore you, go right ahead. Schedule a time that we can meet, decide what weapons, and hey, I'm more than willing to duel or spar with whoever. I'm that confident in my ability. Beyond that, just stick to what I was basically saying. If you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all. Otherwise, you could actually look at the history and, actual uses of whatever it is you want to bitch about. And hey, if you're right, you're right. If you're wrong, you're wrong. But believe me, you say anything, most likely somebody somewhere that hears it or reads it, whatever, they might happen to have a better opinion or an actually correct one. So, think of it from your own perspective. Beyond that, just decide what you want to say before you say it. Otherwise, do the history, do the research, study on it. Learn a little bit. It might help you. So, anyway, thank you so much, Generally Small Pecker, for calling me out on a different channel. And yeah, if you happen to be watching this, yes, I am directing this video entirely at you and the general discussion. As far as whether or not the person that made nunchucks a viable weapon was an idiot or not, you need to look at it from a broader spectrum. Anything is a weapon, and how you use it defines its versatility versus its actual uses. So, there you go. Beyond that, if you watch the video and simply apologize, that's fine, and it'll end right here. Otherwise, I'm going to plague you because you gave me something to do. You bothered to tell me that no one cares, and in fact, you were right. Whenever you said no one cares about my opinion, you were truthfully accurate. No one does. But you shouldn't be so hard on yourself. I don't think you're no one. But the fact that you did say that you are nobody, I think you need some help. So if you want to, reach out, we can talk. I've got no problem one way or the other. But you should really seek some help. You're not worthless. I mean, you are worth less than I am, but that does not mean you are completely without value. But, you see, no one cares implies that literally no one cares. That's fine. No one does. But the fact that you cared enough to say so means that you are literally calling yourself no one. It's not good. It's literally a bad decision on your part to call yourself no one. If you don't want to see my value, that's fine. At least see your own. Other than that, hey, if you watched this video, by all means, look at my other ones and follow the instructions. It might be fun. Granted, you need to follow the instructions of this video first. Apologize if you've got anything to say that you actually want taken literally. Beyond that, your rights and freedoms to speak on however or whatever you wish is completely up to you. You'll find no censorship from me. But anyway, have a nice day and a good life. Just remember, you're worth something. Not much, but you are worth something. So don't consider yourself a worthless nobody. So, to everybody else, have a pleasant day. And pleasant tomorrow, and even better future if you can have it.